call the meeting to order. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Archie.
Here.
Councilmember Back.
Here.
Chairperson Perry. Here. Councilmember Miles.
Here.
Councilmember Zajac.
Here.
Okay, I'll say the prayer. O Father God of us all, we humbly beseech Thee in Thy wisdom and knowledge to guide and direct deliberations of the council along the path of truth, justice, and righteousness, so that what we decide for the welfare of our citizens may also rebound to Thy greater honor and glory. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have no presentations for tonight, so we will go on to administrative updates. Do we have any administrative updates?
None this evening, thank you.
All right.
You do know we're in a meeting, right?
Community happenings. Do you have any announcements?
Yeah. June 1st and 2nd, down at the Niagara Falls Underground Heritage Center, there will be an event called the Bike-a-Palooza. It is for families and bike enthusiasts. There will be vintage bikes. There's going to be some family rides back and forth along the Upper Gorge Trail, along with a bike sale at a discounted rate by a company, an organization out of Buffalo that refurbishes bikes for community members. So come on down. It is free other than the bike sale, June 1st and 2nd, starting at 10 a.m.
Tomorrow, the Family Community Resource Fair, the grand opening over at the Christ Redemption Tabernacle campus at 339 22nd Street. That is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
4 to 6 p.m. Patrick Court Community Center tomorrow afternoon. Good for the community, and it is open and free to all. That's it.
Anything else? No? Okay, on the May 28th, there's going to be a virtual workshop. I have some flyers out on the table over there if anybody's interested. It is about financial fraud. It is a Zoom workshop, 5:30 to 6:30. It's free. It's put on by Parachute Credit, and it might be beneficial for some people that are interested in that sort of thing. So if you're interested, there are flyers out on the table over there. There's also, if you have a smartphone, you can take a little click on it. And you can also call 716-712-2060. All right, anything else? No? All right, let's move on to item number 4, review of the agenda items. Okay, legislative items. All right. Let's take a look at review of the meeting items for April 24, 2024. Are there any modifications that we want to make there?
Yeah, there's a change to item IV that just has me listed as excused and present at the same time.
Are you referring to this? Okay.
Yeah, that's what he is.
We skipped section 4. Go back to section 4.
Approve the agenda.
Minutes is section 5.
Okay. We're gonna adopt the agenda. Okay. We got a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt the agenda as it stands.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, by roll? Another roll, please.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Bax,
Yes.
Councilperson Perry,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
5 yeas, it's adopted. Okay. Now, we will go on to review of April 24th minutes. Brian?
Edit, say it again.
Yeah, you want to change, modify the minutes for April 24th, 2024?
It has me excused and present at the same time. We just need to make that change.
Sure that we're talking about, which minutes are you talking about?
April 24.
Okay. Which section?
Item 1 doesn't match item 4.
Okay.
So you just want to change the excused for the first, you see it? Roll
So
call
the-
vote.
So item 1B, on the
1B.
April 24th, 2024 minutes, needs to remove the X next to your name, Councilman Archie, is that correct?
No, that wasn't the meeting that I wasn't present for. So I was here.
Right.
So you
Correct.
need to remove the excused, is what I said previously.
Yeah, so the vote on the bond. Correct.
So the excused reference next to your name needs to be turned into an X? to
Yes.
Indicate a positive vote, a yea
Yes.
vote?
Any other changes? Okay. All right.
I just want to be clear that the request for changes pertains to both agendas, April 24th and May 8th, and to my understanding, then there's no request to change minutes for May 8th.
And no request.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, and the agenda. And there are no changes for,
Objections to that request to change?
and, to no,
Can you confirm that there are no objections to
Yeah,
the
there are.
requested correction?
there are no objections to the change, right? There are no objections to the changes, okay? So we want to, and moving forward, so all in favor? We're going to roll call vote?
Council, Chairperson, since there are no objections, you can announce that because there are no objections, the clerk will incorporate the corrections in the official minutes once approved.
By Robert's rules. All right. And the May 8th meetings, are there any changes or modifications?
Nope.
Okay, let them be accepted. Okay, we have no, moving on to item number 6, information from the city clerk. We have nothing from the clerk's office. And moving on to, oh, Council, you approach, please. Okay, before we jump into the legislative items, we're going to open this up for comments on legislative items speakers. The clerk call, if we have speakers for legislative items.
First, we have Janine Gallo.
Hello, I'm Ginny Gallo. I'm a little unprepared because I didn't think I was going to be allowed to speak. Well, because I'm not. But I'd like to talk about the, believe it or not, the shelter and the dog in Hyde Park. Okay, I just read the article in the paper from the interview from the mayor. I'm kind of puzzled that you would spend $13,000 where I don't even know where you got the money from. I don't think it can be used for that, but that's not my money to throw around. It's the taxpayers' money to throw around. Before you even do what you're doing, one of the $1 million question was, what are you going to do for the weeks and weeks of the fireworks that go on in the falls? Every time I hear the mayor, he has to state that you have the biggest park other than New York City, and you have this beautiful park, so you're going to double fence it, do all these things to put dangerous dogs that aren't going to be able to, they're going to be in jail in this park with fireworks going on, and kids, families with their children. If you look at the park itself, you can't even take care of a swing, but you're going to have the responsibility that these dogs are never going to get out and they're never going to attack somebody in that park. You have tourists that, don't even speak English. Do they know not to go up to that area because you have a shelter in a park? I look every time I get a second to look to see anywhere in the United States that there is a dog shelter in a public park, and I can't find one. You have empty spaces all over Niagara Falls, just dead land. But you want to put it in a public park. Did the DEC, is the ground good? You've been having oil and gas in there, that building. Is that good for our dogs? Do you have somebody, if you ask me, Janine, do you want to open your shelter in the public park in that building? I tell you no. I would tell you no, because that's not a place for a dog. That's not a place for dogs. No matter how you look at this, put it anywhere. And it doesn't compare as to say, oh, well, we rent the ice skating rink and we rent the baseball diamonds out, so we're going to rent the dog building out. The difference is those facilities don't have a contract with Niagara Falls. Now, the mayor thinks everybody's dumb in Niagara Falls. All the people, 140,000 people, are stupid. He thinks the council is stupid because you guys keep saying yes to everything, no matter, you get it 5 minutes and you vote yes. Someone appeals it, nobody seconds it. So he doesn't really have to answer. He's not an expert on where to put dogs. We all know I've offered $1 million building for free, no pay from me, cheaper than what you're paying in Grand Island, but nobody wants to hear it because it's not what the mayor made all his deals with. Okay, it's pathetic. It's really pathetic. I don't care. I don't want the contract. I would never put the dogs in the park. But everybody's compared. You realize she changed the title. She's not even she's the administrator, so I'm sure she wants the same pay as the Erie County SBCA administration gets. So in your contract that he says he's contracting it out, you're going to pay her salary. All of a sudden, you watch the staff she has. 9 million staff members, so she doesn't have to do a thing. You're going to pay. She has a lawsuit already, so I don't know what her insurance is going to be. But you do understand you're not renting it out. You're paying her. She's not going to rent a building out to lose money. So whatever she hires, I'm sure her boyfriend will be the landscaper. Whatever she has to pay, that's what the proposal is going to be for you to pay. And how do you determine that? How do you compare that to the ice rink in the baseball diamond? You can't. It's running a business. It's running a business with your contract. It's overlapping. If she's just renting the building, then maybe she should do the rest of Niagara County and leave Niagara Falls out, because then it would be her renting the building. But she's renting the building with your contract. So that figure is going to make sure it fits her 6-figure. And then everything else. If you told me I could do that, I would hire everybody in here. Everybody want to work at the dog shelter at Hyde Park? Let's do it. Let's do it. If you're going to do that, you're going to have to give those jobs to the city. To the city. You're going to have to. You can't do that. You can't take someone from the public and put them in your building and have the contract with them. No matter what anybody, attorney mumbles and says this and this. I've heard attorney mumbles up here rules and regulations that are untrue, but they all think you're stupid. And at the end of the day, all 5 of you are supposed to be here for the people. The people. And I get in trouble for banging. I'm not banging. I got in trouble. I can't speak for a month. But last meeting, they came up there and called you guys every name in the book. They didn't get in trouble. But if you talk about the dogs, if you talk about the pit chick, you are dead. There's people in here who haven't been here for 6 months. They're going to heckle. They're going to get upset. But they haven't been here. They haven't asked facts. You can't. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
Our next speaker is Tanya Barone.
Good evening. I'm here with a few questions in regards to the architect engineer that's going to be hired for the proposed dog shelter in our public park. Does the proposed shelter need to get zoning and planning approval like any other resident, business owner that would want to put dogs anywhere in the city? Who is the mayor's task force that is involved with the planning of the shelter? The one that Chairman Perry has mentioned, the mayor, he has a task force on Sam Archie's podcast 2 weeks ago. Who are they? Are they volunteers or are they paid? How did he find this task force? And what is their stake in the shelter? If an RFP is put out to lease this state-of-the-art shelter, wouldn't that be a conflict of interest, as Janine had said in her speech, to lease and contract with the private vendor, no matter who the vendor is? It seems to be a conflict of interest. Whether the lease amount of rent is $1 or $1 million, they're going to put that amount in their proposal. We are going to pay for that. If the mayor could not find anyone to take our municipal dog sheltering contract and had to outsource a private vendor in another county, what makes him think he will have multiple people submitting proposals? If he searched high and low and Kelly Swaggle, the pit chick, was the only one, then will she be the only one now? These are questions that are legitimate questions. He seems a little backwards in his planning, in my opinion, unless he already knows who is interested. There are 4 categories that the ARPA funds can be used for, the American Rescue Plan funds. Which category does this fall under? Premium pay for essential workers, investments in water, sewer, and broadband services, revenue replacement for the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue due to COVID-19, or COVID-19 expenditures or negative economic impacts of COVID-19, assistance for small businesses, households, in hard-hit industries, and economic recovery. I could go on about it, but I did a little bit of research, and I'm just a little confused on how ARPA funds can be used for a state-of-the-art dog shelter that can be then leased to a private vendor and then contracted with them. So maybe this could be some of your homework to kind of look into that, because I think we really need a community forum with the mayor for the residents and the taxpayers and the concerned citizens of putting dogs that could be potentially dangerous in a public park, the largest urban park outside of New York City, the mayor's words. It doesn't make sense to me. We have so many parcels of land around here and vacant houses that could be torn down. Put a beautiful dog shelter if that's what you want to do. We have to pay for someone to contract with our animals anyway. We definitely don't disagree that our animals are neglected and abused, and there's a lot of them in our area. We love animals. That's why we're here. We want the best for our residents, taxpayers, and our animals. Thank you for listening.
Our next speaker is Vincent Colley.
Good evening, esteemed council. Vincent Cawley, Niagara Falls resident. Man, what's already been said is dynamite, is right on point. I don't really have much to add, but I will ask some more questions. Are we, as a city, in the animal control business now? There are some services that should be internal. I mean, we should be worrying about our DPPW, making sure that their staff, to make sure that their wages are increased. That's how we can save this money, can be used for, why not bump up their wages instead of trying to waste it on this opportunity here? So think about this. When you need a tech, when you need an accountant, do you go seek the services of an accountant, or do you start your own accounting business? When you need dry cleaning, do you find a dry cleaning service, or do you start your own dry cleaning business? When you just need lawn care, do you find someone who can cut grass professionally and trim it, or do you start your own business? When you need car repairs, do you find a garage who can fix your alternator, your spare parts, or do you start your own garage? Where am I going? We need animal service. Now we're starting our own animal control shelter when we have other services that we need to focus on, and we're going to put this in the shelter. I'll submit to you that not only are you for the people, but if you vote yes for this, that's turning your back on the people. That's stabbing the people in the back when we have other opportunities to do this service. This is not the way to do it. This is illogical, irrational, and irresponsible with taxpayers, with public money. If you want a public contract, yes, you will face public scrutiny. If she wants it, and we all know it's de facto hers, let's not kid about it. Not kid about it. There are better things to do with this money. This is a clown decision. It's just an adumbration of what's going on with this city. There was an article out there, what's going on with Niagara Falls, and this is an adumbration, just a piece, an outline of what's going on. Put in a dog park in the biggest park. Now, tragically, this is very tragic and ironic, because I want to speak on item number 5. If you read the agenda, it says approved a proposed settlement payment of $15,000 to resolve a personal injury lawsuit pending against the city. When you look deeper into that, watch this. It says, what's the nature of the claim? A child injured due to a fall at a park pavilion. Does anybody want to take a guess at what park that is? Hyde Park. So put this in perspective. We want to put a dog park in the middle of our public park for $13,000, but at the same time, we're paying a lawsuit for $15,000. How about we clean up the park, we make it safe, we take care of it first, before we shouldn't even be thinking about it, but we want to put a dog park in there with dangerous dogs, stray dogs. At the same time, we're paying litigation for an injury at the city-owned park, Hyde Park. If you can't find the tragic irony, and this is with all due respect to that kid, that infant, that is so tragic, that is so sad, hurts my heart, the family, can't imagine. But this is just an adumbration, a microcosm of what's going on. We want to put a dog park, a dog shelter in the park, but we have a lawsuit going on in that very same park. Niagara Falls, we can do better. Thank you.
That was the last speaker.
Okay. We ready to move on? Okay, ready to move on? Ready to move on, okay. All right, moving on to the agenda, the legislative items now. Okay, legislative item number 7, number 1. Can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move the council vote to approve the cabinet and countertop replacement project for Firehouse Number 7 on 72nd Street using $17,591.83 of ARPA funds and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Home Depot as more fully outlined in his recommendation memo dated May 15, 2024.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any information requests? Any objections? Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Hershey,
Yes.
Councilmember Bax,
Yes.
Chairperson Perry,
Yes?
Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
Motion's adopted. Legislation, item number 2. Can I get a motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move the council vote to approve a contract between the city and architect and engineering firm of Clark Patterson Lee CPL for that firm to provide initial design work for a city animal shelter and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with such firm as more fully outlined in his recommendation memo dated May 15th, 2024.
Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Information requests?
Just to be clear, this is a planning document for the proposal, correct? So this would be this is a planning phase, and it would come back to us at some point.
It is totally in the planning phase. It is a $13,000 payment to get a design, an engineering firm to explore a possible location, including Hyde Park, and determine whether that the building can be utilized for that purpose. And if the recommendation of the engineering firm, which by the way has drawn plans for SPCA's and also the Lollipop Humane Society facility in Fairport, New York. They have experience with dog shelters, and they're prepared to design a structure that's going to comply with the new regulations that will apply to all shelters across the state effective January 1st of 2025. So wherever this shelter ends up, it's going to meet the requirements of the state and will serve the city for many years.
Environmental factors and the fact that it's a public park and all this other stuff.
Yes,
correct?
I've heard many other concerns about fireworks and soundproofing. We'll certainly examine the soundproofing requirements of the new regulations that will be in effect as of January 1st, 2025. Even if we open a shelter before that date, our plan is to be ready to meet those future requirements. So if the building can't be soundproofed sufficiently to address the requirements about noise and the concerns about noise, then another site will have to be located.
Is there another site recommended currently? Because you said, or will it be to them to recommend a different space?
Well, I'm not aware of any proposals, but if the design firm says we can't build a compliant facility at Hyde Park, my expectation is that we would make available other city locations, city-owned locations to be considered.
And just as point of clarity, so this design document will outline whether it could be, whether the building in Hyde Park could potentially be that, and if it can't, because it doesn't meet the requirements, it will give us that information to know what we need to meet and if we were to select another
Exactly.
site. Is that correct?
That's correct. If the firm comes and looks at the building and starts drawing and says, guys, it's just not going to work in this space and without, you know, X amount of dollars to build out, and in that situation, the best solution may simply be to find another location. But we won't know until the design firm gets to work on it.
Any other requests, any other information? Opposition?
Yes. Got a handful of bullet points, because I think we've been on this for a long time. Architect, engineering, design, 13,000 from the American Rescue Plan. I am so tired of keep trying to express how we keep utilizing our American Rescue Plan and taking money from the poor people to put someone in business. So here's my bullet points, and so I can put it on record and we can call it a day. This emergency contract that we had should have been temporary, should have been very temporary until we actually put out an RFP, because that's how we should do business in the city of Niagara Falls. Like we've been doing business when we want to tear down a house or any other thing that we want to do in the city. We put out our RFP and we make sure that the people who, you know, are experts in whatever field it is, they bid, and then everybody else goes away once we pick the bid, right? We already purchased, 30 some odd kennels. We purchased fencing for a building that's not even in our county. It's just, we utilize our attorney to find loopholes for this pit chick in this whole process. We've received stacks of information showing multiple breaches of this young lady in regards to the contract that we give her, and we pay her over $20,000 a month. And Kelly comes here and arrogantly stares us in the face and just gives us a bunch of lip service and doesn't leave us one bit of information to counter anything that was given to us, which makes me wonder why would she feel so comfortable to do that? Leaves us nothing to defend our case. Not a video, not any documentation, nothing. She comes and just talks and she leaves, and then we're okay with it. Knowing that we have now a better option available that won't cost the taxpayers nothing to build. Our mayor chooses to take, again, money from the poor to set Pit Chick up for business here in the city of Niagara Falls. How? I'm very glad you asked. He wants to take a building that is directly across from a park where our children play and transform it into a shelter for lost, stray, and surrendered dogs. As if we couldn't find something better to do with that building that's next to the ice skating rink. Our kids are already in a position where they don't have a lot of recreation things for them to do. They're leaving here left and right. They're getting in trouble, and then we point our finger and we act like they're the problem. But we'll make a move like that. We don't have we don't have a roller skating rink. Or pickleball. I heard something about it. I don't know about it. I'm not I'm not versed in that, but certain things like local workout space. anything could have been in that space that would be safe for our kids instead of bringing surrendered, lost, strayed dogs there. That's one. But the big part is this, again, using American Rescue Plan funds. So I guess the question that I would have, and I always would wish that our mayor would be present because this is for him, but I'm sure he'll hear this, is what is the relationship between you and this young lady that would make you go out of your way, that would make you be so accommodating for her to get her? She's already hasn't proven anything as far as the contract that she already has today. So now we're going to do what we got to do. Okay, well, we screwed up. We made a piss poor decision then, and we made an emergency then. So now let's try to build her something here. It's almost like a mistress. Shut your mouth, so now I'll fix it. Have an issue with that. 13K on architect and engineering design. We got to look for the cost of retrofitting the building because it's not a dog shelter now. And then there's a lot of different aspects that goes along with that. The labor costs, that's just $13,000 just for them to look at it and say, oh, this would be or would not be a good place. Oh, I don't have time. This is me. Did I mention that the city is already piss poor in managing the buildings that we already own? We don't do good with the buildings that we own now. So we're going to get in the business of running or owning and hosting a dog shelter. And she hasn't already proven to us that she's capable of it. So there's that. So who's going to maintain it? I started thinking because I feel like it's just kind of weird. I was wondering, where did the fourth come from when this muzzle of shutting a couple of people out of speaking at that podium? And then I seen this agenda item, and I noticed that this BS was going to be on this agenda item today, which is the meeting right before the 4th. So was that one of the type of things to, hey, let's shut them up, and then let's hurry up and get this through, so then by the 4th it's not going to matter what they say? I have a lot of issues. I feel like, and this is and this goes along with this right here, this item by itself, I feel like the mayor and the administration has turned this council into the butt end of his joke, to the point where he won't even show up because he just knows you're going to say yes to whatever it is he puts on the table. That's a problem that I have. Now, I refuse to stand by and allow that to happen. Now, I've been pretty quiet for a while. I have tried to give this new council at least a good 6 months to see how are we going to work. Are we going to work on behalf of the people? Are we going to work for the best interests of our city? I've seen there's been agenda items that lack detail, and I asked, hey, can we at least just table the item until we can, now that we have extra information that we know that is there, just so we can sink our teeth into it. And then when it's time for a second, I get crickets up here. I think we need to stand what's for the best interests of the community and the people. I'm hoping, I can only hope, that you guys, my colleagues, would be able to make a conscious decision to be on the right side of history. Because right now, we're doing bad business. This is not good business. Nothing about this is good. And I'm not going to sit back. I'm not going to be quiet. I was quiet long enough. If anybody, when I sat in that seat over there, now this guy has to come back out. Because at the end of the day, I'm not having it. And guess what? This work will be gotten every time I sit down at this seat because I know why I'm here. I know why we were voted here. We were voted here not to be the mayor's lapdog and puppet. I don't do backdoor deals. I don't want to have a meeting with the mayor. So before anybody makes that decision, have you talked to the mayor? No. he should come and talk to us in our meetings, because this is a city council meeting. He needs to put some respect back on our meetings, because he has turned our meetings into a joke. That's what it was. And people can see it. Outside of, not just in this building, people in the city, people outside of the city, they like you guys, he makes you guys look like a joke. This is bad business. I'm hoping that we don't move forward with this. Let's take $13,000 of American Rescue Plan funds and let's put it where it needs to go. Spaces where people have been affected, the people who have been underserved, people have been displaced, people have been gentrified. See, these are the areas that a lot of y'all don't understand because y'all don't live in that space. I live right in the heart of it. And I'm willing to take this as far as it needs to go. I promise you. I promise you, because I fight for the betterment and the quality of life of my children. And that wasn't a campaign statement. That was real. That's why I'm here. So I'm hoping for this item number 2 that we make a different decision. I would hope that it's not a 3 or 4 to 1, because I'm hoping that we actually sit back and think about it. Because if we have another option that says, okay, we're not going to have to pay to have a new building built if there's already a building, put out an RFP, and then guess what? If no one can actually service that and no one can actually do what needs to be done in regards to that, put out an RFP, and then if that doesn't happen, then let's make that the next option. Okay, well, we can't find anyone to actually set us up with a dog shelter that can actually service us, then now we're gonna have to build our own. But right now, we're putting the cart way before the horse, and it's real fishy. I feel like it's some extra stuff that's going on, and I'm willing to dig, and I'm trying to be nice, I promise you, and this is me being super nice. I'm hoping that we make a different decision on this tonight. $13,000, we can do something. And
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt, Council Member.
But this is not your meeting. Hold on, wait. When I yield my time, this is my
Council
time.
Member,
But you're not in control of our meeting. You're out of order.
Mr. Chairman,
Rob, you can Robert Rules of Order all day, but if I don't yield my time, then you don't have that to do. You're out of order. You give us legal advice. Nothing that you're saying right now has anything to do with legal.
Chairman.
So you can keep it quiet until I'm done, because I'm almost done, and then you can talk to Mr. Perry at the end about Robert's Rules of Order. At the end of the day,
Council Member has
order.
exceeded the 10 minutes. So I gave him a little extra time.
He's out of. No, you don't give me time. This is our meeting. This is not even your meeting. Stay in your lane.
Mr. Miles,
Stay
you'll
in your
remember
lane,
that
sir.
I gave you a copy of this.
It doesn't matter. You can
Remember
give
that?
me a copy of that and any other book that
Page
you have in your
34,
library, but it's not. You're not.
There's a
you're
10-minute
out of
limit.
order.
There's a 10-minute limit on each member's debate
You
time,
don't follow.
and you've
You're not
exceeded
even
it.
following Robert Rules of Order right now, because you're not. You don't run the meeting. You're not the chairman. You're not the chairman. You can adjourn the whole meeting as far as I'm concerned, because this is garbage. He's not the chairman. He doesn't run the meeting.
He's breaking the rules of order. He has a 10-minute limit on his debate time,
Okay.
and he's exceeded it.
Again, that never been that. There's never been that. Go back to 1999 when we used to when they had meetings back then.
Mr.
They would
Miles?
talk for a good hour.
Even I abide by the rules of order.
No, you don't, sir. No, you don't, sir.
I have been corrected several times.
Right. Okay, and that's
It's
fine.
on the record that I have been corrected.
It's fine.
This is
Problem is that he's out of order. So let's make sure that we put that on record.
This is the first time since Robert Rules of Order have been strictly enforced that any
First of all,
any council members
this is
exceeded
not.
10 minutes.
First of all,
so-
our meeting is not governed by Robert Rules of Order. That's just rules. It's not law. Okay, so let's make sure. Let's make sure.
The city
Let's make sure
charter.
you
The city charter
say it the right
requires
way.
us.
That is a city charter, and we are governed by the city charter.
No, we're governed by. That's not. This rules and not law.
A violation of the Robert Rules
Like I said,
is a violation
he
of the
just,
city
at the end
charter.
of the day, he was out of order. You can mark that. He's definitely out of order. Keep it legal.
Now, do you want to make a motion
Yeah.
to table it?
Yeah, I mean, I make a motion to shut it completely off, especially when it comes down to the American Rescue Plan. I'm voting no.
Do you want to make a motion to table it?
I'll make a motion to table it at the bare minimum. I'm going to vote no, but I'll make the motion to
Do
table
you
it.
want to vote, or do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to table it.
Dante made a motion to table it. Does anybody want to second that motion? second call to second the motion. Pardon? Kill it? All right, the motion defeated. All right. We move on. So going back, call the roll for the motion, the original motion, to vote on the original motion.
Councilmember Archie,
No.
Councilmember Bax,
Yes.
Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
No.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
3 yeas, 2 nays.
Motion adopted. Moving on to legislative item number 3. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move the council vote to approve the waiver of a bandstand fee for the Juneteenth Festival planned at Legends Park on June 19, 2024, as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated May 15, 2024.
May I have a second to the motion, please?
Second.
Information requests? Okay. Any opposition? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Bax,
Yes.
Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
Motion's adopted. Legislative item number 4. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move the council vote to approve the waiver of bandstand fee for the 4th annual Community Day on Highland Beach Avenue, which will be sponsored by the Niagara Falls Housing Authority on September 14th, 2024, as more fully outlined in the mayor's recommendation memo dated May 15th, 2024.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Information requests? Opposition? Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Bax,
Yes.
Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
Okay, moving on to item number 5. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move the council vote to approve a proposed settlement payment of $15,000 to fully resolve a personal injury lawsuit pending against the city, as more fully outlined in the Acting Corporation Council's recommendation memo dated May 15th, 2024.
Okay, may I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, information requests. I do understand that the issue was resolved, that caused the accident to begin with, by the issues that were on. So that's a good experience on it. Okay, any opposition? No? Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie,
Yes.
Councilmember Bax,
Yes.
Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac,
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
5 yeas, motion's adopted. Legislative item number 6, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the council vote to approve resolution relative to a standard workday and reporting resolution for each elected and/or appointed official specified therewithin, including council member Brian Archie.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Information requests? Any opposition? Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Archie,
I abstain. Conflict of interest.
Councilmember Bax,
Yes.
Chairperson Perry,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Zajac.
Yes.
5 yeas, I'm sorry, 4 yeas, 1 abstain.
Motion's adopted. Okay, that concludes our legislative portion of the agenda. We're going to move on now to the public speaker. Public speaking is for the good of the community, limited to 5 minutes per person. We're going to ask that you please stick with the agenda in the back and use proper decorum when you're speaking. Speak to the good of the community and the council as a whole. With that, can I please call the first person?
First speaker will be Roberta Cicero.
My name is Roberta, and I live in a residence in Niagara Falls, New York. The first thing I would like to do is thank Niagara Falls High School for providing a great service through YouTube so we can sit at home and watch city council meetings without having to come here. What I would like to ask is if you find a way to allow us to provide feedback like this without having to come here in person, especially in the winter months when travel is difficult. We know technology exists, so why hasn't it been done? Next, I would like to compliment Mayor Estano and the City Council for finally taking some bold steps towards the city, but it also seems when we are about to move forward, somebody comes out of nowhere, like Erie County, New York City, or someplace out of the area and wants to make a sideshow to distract us. Is there any way you can allow Niagara Falls residents the ability to speak at council meetings? This is our city. We voted you in, not these people who have no clue of what our issues are and keep trying to bring drama here. Every mayor since Mayor Lackey has been criticized for being a crook, wishy-washy, or a tyrant, and you wonder why it is so difficult to move our city forward. How does that proverb go? A house divided cannot stand. We take pride in knowing we did not take a control board to get us out of a financial mess. We did it with strong leadership, unlike Erie County. So you people from Erie County, go home. We do not want you here. Go take care of your own house, get your home in order before you come cramping on our doorstep. It is said many times we have freedom of speech. We do. The First Amendment protects our freedom of speech, but let me remind you, some forget, not all speech is protected by the First Amendment. According to the Supreme Court of the United States, categories of the speech that are given lesser or no protection by the First Amendment and therefore may be constricted or restricted as follows. Obscenity, speech integral to illegal conduct, speech that incites imminent lawlessness, speech that violates intellectual property, threats, false statement or fact, and sometimes that happens far too often at this meeting, defamation that causes harm to reputation. In addition, I'd like to point out that every single one of us that are permitted to speak agree to the following. You may sign in to speak on specific legislative agendas for the good of the community. Each speaker is given up to 5 minutes maximum, although you may use less time. However, many have people seen, ignore the clock, think that they will get their point across, when in reality, they are displaying their own ignorant, disrespectful childness. You may not transfer the balance of your time to another speaker. The council chairperson may limit the number of speakers on a topic or agenda item or the overall speaking time if the same will unduly delay the meeting. Speakers must address the city council as a body. If you would like to address an individual council member or anyone else, please do that separately, not during the meeting. The council will not respond to questions or statements that you make during your speech. This is an opportunity to share your ideas, not to engage in conversation or debate. This portion of the meeting is not for personal grievances. Use the decorum expected for speaking before an elected deliberative assembly such as the council. The chairman's job, for those of you who don't understand it, is to enforce these rules. I did leave a few out due to time constraint, but the most important one that seemed to be ignored lately are said. More importantly, you have rules at our disposal and at the bottom of every agenda. If you are speaking as a grown adult, you should know this. It is my request that the City Council enforce these rules with more force. It is not fair to the tax-paying citizen like myself of this city who shows respect to have to deal with the crowd of unstable, so-called adults that take up our time. Thank you.
Next speaker is Nicole Dyer.
Okay, you want to sit down? This meeting's going on and you're interrupting this lady's time. You had your chance to talk at the beginning. Now give it. Listen to their speech. Then you can voice your opinion after.
Next speaker will be Nicole Dyer.
Jim.
When you're ready.
I would like to propose a question to the council and the residents of Niagara Falls. Why are residents of Niagara Falls wishing they had a DCO after hours? Just this past Sunday, a resident made a post concerning the need for an after-hours DCO. She goes on to say that the city of Niagara Falls are putting our people in a position where potential harm to themselves and their animals is evident, especially going into the summer months. Another instance on Facebook where a Niagara Falls resident lost their dog and your shelter would not allow them to come and pick up their dog because it was the weekend and they were closed to the public. So the family had to wait until Monday when she was opened again to be reunited with their dog. This is not the first time that this has happened, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last. As it was stated 2 weeks ago on a local podcast, that your municipal shelter director stated that her DVM can and has given medication dosages and diagnosed via email and text messages. According to the AVMA, American Veterinary Medical Association, not according to Niagara Falls and not according to Pitchick, in order to dispense, diagnose, or treat an animal, they must have a valid veterinary client-patient relationship, VCPR. A VCPR means that all of the following are required, not just one. The veterinarian has assumed the responsibility for making medical judgments regarding the health of the patient, and the client has agreed to follow the veterinarian's instructions. 2, the veterinarian has sufficient knowledge of the patient to intake at least a general or preliminary diagnosis of the medical condition of the patient. This means that the veterinarian is personally acquainted with the keeping and the care of the patient of virtue, of a timely examination of the patient by the veterinarian, or a medically appropriate and timely visits by the veterinarian to the operation where the patient is managed. The veterinarian is readily available for follow-up evaluation or has arranged for the following: veterinary emergency coverage and the continuing care and treatment of that patient. The veterinarian provides oversight of treatment, compliance, and outcome. Lastly, the veterinarian and the patient records are maintained. The AVMA also goes on to state that this is an unethical behavior to practice below standards to care of patients, diagnosing, treating, or prescribing without a valid VCPR. Also, in this same podcast, your municipal shelter director talks about texts being made between the staff and Kelly herself, talking about medications and dosing animals. Again, text messages do not lie. I have the text with timestamps. For instance, 2:11 p.m., Kelly, I have to get a weight on her so I can dose her with carprofen. 2:11, associate, I'll grab the scale. 2:11, Kelly, no, it's attached to the wall. 2:12 p.m., associate, I can borrow Myra's. 2:12 p.m., Kelly, she's probably around 44 to 47 pounds. 2:12, Kelly, I can dose her 100 milligrams once daily of carprofen. 2:13 p.m., associate, I found the injury. We finally have her foot up. So you mean to tell me that this animal was seen by a veterinarian in a matter of 60 seconds so Kelly could dose this animal? And Kelly diagnosed her without even seeing the injury. Only a DVM should have done this. It must be nice to assume the role of a DVM without the debt of veterinarian school. And this is the vendor you choose to protect when you should be protecting your animals. Thank you.
Okay, call the next speaker, please. Our next speaker will be Vincent Cawley.
Thank you, illustrious council. Always good to come before you. I just want to put in perspective for the Niagara Falls people what we just heard. Just imagine if you go bring your car to the car repair shop and they say your car is fixed, it's ready to go. You pay them. You go to your car, you crank it, and it doesn't start. It doesn't drive. It's the same issues you had before you brought it to the car repair shop are the same issues you had when you picked it up at the car repair shop. How would you feel about that? You would feel, why did I pay them? Why did they take my money? What service am I getting for the money that I just paid? That's what we just heard before. What are we paying for? What are we getting? We as a city pay for a service, whether it's garbage, whether it's snow removal, whether it's fixing the potholes, whether it's animal shelter. We pay for a service, and we expect to get that service per the contract. The contract has been breached. We've just heard that from one of the councilman members. We heard that the contract has been breached, and we're still paying the money for it. Now, someone else may be saying, Vincent, why are you giving all this trouble over just dogs? I'm glad you asked that question, too. I sat on that other side, too, on that dais. When I was on the city council, we had the opportunity to get the 13th Street Center and that surrounding land to us. We talk about things to do for the kids. We talk about where the money is spent for the city. Why don't we have this activity? Why do we have this activity? We had the chance to be given the 13th Street Center so that it's in the city's hands. So guess what? We can do something with it. But what happened? We don't have the center. We're still in a lawsuit case, and nothing's being done. It's just a symptom, just an adumbration, a microcosm. I ended when I first talked about we can do better. There's better ways to spend our taxpayers' dollars. That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're saying. Yes, sir.
Are you campaigning here, or are you addressing the council?
I'm just the people.
We're going to pause you for a minute.
That's fine.
Pause him for a second so we don't take away from his time. You've been on this side of You've been on this side of the bridge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're not campaigning, right?
No.
Okay, go ahead, continue. We didn't want to take away your time, so.
I appreciate it. I'm almost done anyways. But Niagara Falls, I just wanted to look at each and every single one of you in the eye. I didn't want to look at them anymore. I wanted to look at the people to understand just where I'm coming from and where we're coming from with this whole issue of we're paying for a service, we're not getting it, we're getting less than, and we're still putting our taxpayers' dollars for it. And not only are we going to pay for this plan for papers, and trust me, I've dealt with contracts before with other contractors. Sometimes we pay $300,000 for drawings, and guess what? We don't even get the drawings after a year. So I'm hoping that we get the drawings. I'm hoping that they do that. We shouldn't even have done it in the first place. It's an egregious vote, an egregious effort. But again, that money is an opportunity cost. If we're paying for that, we can't pay for other things. And that's what I'm trying to get across. Well, we should have a 13th Street Center. We should have that in our possession so that we can do something with it, but yet we don't. Why? Why? Why don't we have it? Why don't we have it? Why don't we have it? I was up there. Why don't we have it? Because the council didn't vote on it. That's why, and that's where I come to the council. We vote for the people. I was up there. I take the issues. I take it. You take the lumps with you take the bumps with the bruises. We're elected officials. That's what we do. But we can do better, Niagara Falls. We can do better. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Angela MacArthur.
Good evening. It's not easy, never easy, but the right thing must be done when they have a chance to do it and don't. A person I consider a friend told me this just a few short days ago, and sadly it's true. When someone is only telling half-truths and outright lies, someone has to state the facts, the truth. I have brought evidence of everything I'm going to speak about today. It is important to note I am not for or against the pit check. I am here to, and I'm not here to badmouth anyone, but I am here to right a few wrongs. Fact one, in February of 2022, the SPCA informed the Niagara Gazette they would not be continuing their contract with Niagara Falls. The SPCA extended their contract because despite the city pleading for someone to take the strays of Niagara Falls, there was nobody. Fact two, multiple news sources covered the issue from February 22nd to present. These sources included the Gazette, Niagara Express, WBFO, the Buffalo News, Yahoo News, and the Niagara Falls Reporter, just to name a few. Fact three, in February of 2023, two different organizations placed a bid for the contract, but one of those offers backed out, leaving only the pit check. On June 6, 2023, after 2 weeks of looking over the negotiated contract that is legally binding until December of 2024, the pit check was voted in with a 4 out of 5 votes, and the 5th vote, the one against the pit check, was from an appointed councilman who is no longer on the board today, but to my knowledge is running in hope of returning. The pit check contract, that again runs until the end of the year. It is a legal binding contract that was reviewed by attorneys and multiple other educated professionals in order to ensure the ethicity, integrity, and validity of the contract. With a little more than 7 months remaining on the legal binding contract, only one council member that voted for the agreement that still holds a seat today has openly expressed uncertainty on this issue. Switching gears, during the For the Good of the Community speech given by the former appointed city council member, Robert Rule, section 61, paragraph 6, was partially quoted. The section that was read conveyed to an uneducated listener that the council can determine who can attend its meeting, but all members have the right to attend except in case where the bylaws provided for the automatic suspension of members who fail in arrear in payments of their dues. The speaker then stops reading from the text. There are a few problems with this. The speaker left out, and I quote, or where the society has, by vote and as a penalty imposed for a specific offense, forbidden attendance. It can be reasonably assumed that the speaker may have left this out because he didn't want to highlight the possibility of the board voting his co-conspirators out of the meeting. But let's not speculate. The second concern is, had the reader reread section 1 of the document, he'd have known by the members the document was referring to the city council. The citizens that attend the meeting are not members of the city council. It would have been more accurate had he read from 61:19 to 61, paragraph 21. The section states that an assembly has the right to protect itself from annoyance by non-members in its full authority in its regard, and distinguished from cases involving disorderly members, can be exercised by the chair acting alone. The last concern I have with this specific scenario is that allegation to the paragraph he read was meant for private clubs. This is simply not true. The last paragraph in the introduction of the document states that it is meant for the kind of gathering in which parliamentary law is applied. It is known as a deliberate assembly, meaning they are written for a group of people who meet to discuss and make decisions on behalf of the entire membership, much like city council meets to discuss decision for Niagara Falls. Here is all documentation backing my.
Okay, the F word. Was just used. Somebody out there, you can't have that. He used the F word. Someone did, I don't know who, but we can't have that.
No, I didn't hear him, yes. Is that what he said?
I heard the F word. I don't know who said it.
Council Chairperson. Next speak. Oh, he turned the mic on. 1 second. You can go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Agnes Hans, and the reason why I'm here is would like for the city to do some repairs. Do some repairs at the golf course at High Park. I play pickleball with some other players, and the court is not that great. Some of the seniors that I play with is kind of concerned about going outside playing. And I also play pickleball with a group of kids at Gluck Park. If it's any way possible that y'all can put other places for the kids to play pickleball. And if you don't know what pickleball is a game between tennis and ping pong. You have like a plastic wiffle ball and a paddle. So it's between a small paddle and a tennis racket. It's a fun game from ages 5 and up. I do play with a lot of seniors. It's a good sport for kids to get into. It's becoming to be a popular sport, but we need areas for the kids to play, and also it's a year-round sport, so we would need places for the kids to play indoors as well as the seniors. Thank you.
Next speaker is Ann Law. Next speaker is Ann Law. Next speaker would be Brenda Hunt. Next speaker would be Brenda Hunt. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Next speaker would be Lawrence Blaber.
Evening, gentlemen and gentlelady. How are we doing today? Lawrence Blaber, 38th Street, Niagara Falls. I've already emailed the mayor pretty much what I'm going to complain about here, but I'm putting it on you guys to also know, and I'm letting everybody here to also know I've put it to you guys. When we were kids, if you wanted to ask your mom for tickets to the movies or to stay out late with your friends, you'd like clean your room and do everything really nice, right, to try and win them over, right? But I look at Niagara Falls, and this mayor doesn't give us the same courtesy. I look at this talk of this dog shelter, and as you know, I don't care about dogs. I've had one, but I'm not one of these people that love dogs, right? So I don't understand the talk of a dog shelter considering the state of Hyde Park and the playground. Like, quite frankly, from a political perspective, the mayor needs a better team. They can't run a proper misdirection. Before you do something controversial like a dog park, you need to give the people something so they're happy and not upset about a dog park. I have come to you about this playground and the state of this playground a couple of times. The young lady who complained about the pickleball park, that's part of it. This playground is a joke. You've got a swing with the words, whatever daddy wants, daddy gets on the back of it. That's not been cleaned. You've got the ground actually ripped open with bits of tire out. I have to fight my autistic son not to grab it. You've got the swing for the special needs that is ripped up. There's metal showing. It's 6 feet from a hole in the ground, but the hole in the ground is protected by a wooden fence that's taped up that says, do not cross. So I'm sure that'll not lead to another lawsuit. So we've got all of that going on, and I'm hearing, oh, we're waiting for a community grant. We're waiting for a community grant, but then we just say we had a surplus? If we can't budget to maintain the largest municipal park outside of New York City, we need to, again, get a better team and fire the accountants. It's the accountant's job to budget. Maintenance of the largest park the city has and the largest park in New York State should be a key part of the job. I don't care what is going on with the budget. This park has too much for the city to not do it. You pound your chest on about it all this time. You have to make sure it's the best. This park is it's an ambassador in of itself. When people from Rochester come play, Hockey, where do the moms take the kids who are not playing hockey? To the park, which looks horrible. So how do we do that? If we can't budget for regular maintenance of this park, why should I trust you with this shelter? What have you done? You have not shown a track record. And as we all know, your record's your record. Sean McDermott, good Bills coach. If he went 3-13, 3 seasons in a row, he couldn't say, well, you know, I'm waiting on this thing, right? No, your record is your record. All right, so what I need from you guys as city council people is I need thorough inspection. I need you guys here to be like, what is the plan with this shelter? Have we fixed the playground? Have we given the people anything to show we have competency to take on this other challenge? Because right now we've shown we can't chew gum and walk, but now we're going to add jump rope into it. And we as the public are supposed to trust you because, yet again, we haven't been consulted. Because apparently when you're the smartest person in the room, does the opinions of the public matter? So that is where I'm at with this. I would like for you guys, I've emailed Tompkins, I emailed Fagan when he was in charge, now I emailed Tompkins, I emailed Anthony Rustino, and I emailed the mayor. Because I need you guys to be like, what is the plan to fix Hyde Park? We have to give the people something if we expect them to trust us with something else. And it needs to be thorough. We need an RFP. If we could get some transparency in that process, that would be great, but I'm not holding my breath. That's all I'm asking here. I'm not asking for something. I'm just saying, be better. Set a new standard for yourselves. You don't even have to go above and beyond. Just show basic competency of professionals, the kind of professionals that would do so in work. This is why people are not government. This is why I say people say government should be run like a business. Because there's no way you could have this kind of incompetency on several matters and be trusted with another project. If I messed up a renovation project, I'm not going to get another one. They'll make me work under somebody until they can trust me again. Yet somehow, we can't get this playground fixed. We can't get the pickleball
Thank you.
court
Your
fixed.
time is up.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Elena Cicero.
What I want to know is why does the anti-pit group bother our city council instead of Tonawonda's? Why do we allow the display of disrespect to continue? Anyone can view these meetings online, and what you see when you do view it is a group of a bunch of misguided and unstable women who don't seem to understand the capacity to understand that you don't get something you want by throwing a temper tantrum and can't seem to recognize when they're being taken advantage of. A formal appointed city council member who uses these poor, misguided women to prop herself up so he can gain some recognition. A city council trying to beat back this group while still trying to maintain some sort of ethical integrity. Meanwhile, Brutus is pulling the strings. Who is Brutus? Look amongst yourselves. Surely Robert's rules has something to say to do with these traitors here. Shut them down by maybe banning the groups in the meeting, maybe having a little peace for you guys. Honestly, as someone, I go to Hyde Park every day. I've lived here my entire life. I've gone to these schools. I've lived with it. I have an autistic nephew who I bring to that park, and he enjoys himself thoroughly every single time he goes. Honestly, you have something like this here, you always talk about the kids. These kids are bored. I was part of this. I went to Niagara Falls High School. I went to Hyde Park Elementary. I went to Lacell Middle School. These kids are bored. Maybe having something like this here will give them a reason to go do something good, maybe go and volunteer, use their time to do something that's worth having a good feeling, knowing that you did something well, instead of going out and getting in trouble. You know, that's just coming from someone who's actually in that generation and sees it for herself and knows these kids themselves. Thank you.
That was the final speaker.
You're not going to let Janine and I speak? We're signed off as good of the community.
Okay, meeting adjourned.